Hello, hello. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. This is your boy, Cody, with Cryptic Trading Post. How is everyone doing tonight? All right, so trying to get a little bit of a new layout with this, since we're starting to put these onto the podcast. So, shall be interesting. Hello, Daryl from Lost Souls. How are you tonight? So tonight's going to be an interesting show. I think we were running a bit late tonight due to the new time. Oh my gosh, there's something flying around my stuff here. Due to the new time schedule for Cryptic Trading Post. So I know it's weird. Feels like we're doing this way too early, like way earlier than what we're supposed to. But tonight should be a good show. We're going to look at a few news articles. But hopefully we can get Dedrick Hilton on. I think we're having issues right now. Let me see if I can. If anything, I will send it to his email real fast. But we should have him on tonight to interview him and learn about him and see what he's up to. He actually has his own little news network on his streaming service. And I don't know, it's just always interesting to see what other people are doing with their news shows, because it's, you know, his show is definitely different from mine as far as what I could tell and what I've watched and looked at. So we will get into that tonight. So hello, Donna Guerin from Paranormal Hot Seat. Nice to see you here. Jonathan Cantoyas, he's like a huge fan of Cryptic Trading Post. He says that little creepy girl on your intro can kick rocks. So if anyone's listening to the audio version of this, there is it's a slightly newer intro. So there's actually like little cryptic creatures that come through and stuff. Uh-oh. We're having all kinds of issues tonight. So let me make sure. Okay. Dedrick is saying he's on StreamYard, but I do not see him. So hopefully that's a StreamYard thing. Hello, lovely girlfriend. Morgan is here showing her support. So let's go through this real fast while we're waiting. Hopefully this is, you know, some kind of hiccup, but I looked down. Jonathan says, I looked down and she was there about that. Yeah, it comes up quick and she don't stay there long. So I'm glad that you caught that. It's like right in the middle of the intro, essentially. Actually, it's not a part of the intro. It's a part of the waiting screen, because I try to add like a buffer zone for people to get like on their phone or get their computer booted up and watch the show. So we've moved Cryptic Trading Post over to First Line Paranormal. So everything is now through First Line Paranormal. Or you can hit up Parafam. You can go to Parafam, facebook.com/Parafam Entertainment, and watch us through there. So I think half of y'all are watching there, half of y'all watching through First Line. So we appreciate y'all. Please share and like the stream for us, or if you want to react with a heart, or a hug or something, then I will appreciate it. That it definitely helps our show out. I would love to get this show out there to not the masses, but more people. Okay, I think we got Dedrick in the back room now, so we will get him up here in just a moment. Facebook.com/ oh god, that's an old link. Do not go to that link because it's an old link. If you have any inquiries for the show or for our team, definitely email us at firstlineparanormal@gmail.com. And like if you want to be a guest, or if you got something you want to send into the show that you want us to review or watch, or anything, just email us at that email. Again, Parafam Entertainment. Can't go wrong with that. There's a link for it. And yeah. So like I said, we're going to go over a little bit of news today, but the majority of it is going to be interviewing our wonderful guest tonight. So, I got to get all my stuff together here. So, without further ado, let's bring out Dedrick.
Hey, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing?
I had to do it.
Yeah, how's everyone?
Thank you for the share, Daryl. You are looking spiffy today, sir.
Thank you.
I hope you didn't feel like you had to dress up for this show, because my show is bonkers. I hope you know that.
No. Just Friday attire.
Oh, well, I'm loving the background, man. That's awesome. That's a good backdrop. So, have you had a busy day today?
It's been eventful.
Eventful. I'm telling you, I have to get used to this new start time, because I'm so used to doing this like later in the night, and now I'm just like, oh my gosh. I was like 7 o'clock was here before I knew it.
Yeah, it comes fast. So you normally do late night shows.
Yeah, because I'm like on a night shift schedule now, so it was even better for me. But I kind of want to help the show out a little bit more and get more people in, because I know sometimes a lot of you guys are like working day shifts, so it's kind of, I have to do like that medium.
Right.
So I've got stuff everywhere right now. So if you don't mind telling us and for the audience here, kind of who you are, what you're about, and what you got going on right now, and just let us know who you're about.
All right. Well, as y'all know, my name is Dedrick Hilton. I'm a paranormal researcher, a parapsychologist, about to have my doctorate degree in parapsychology in 4 months. I specialize in spirituality and paranormal research. That's my cup of tea. I'm also a spiritualist, but I also relate spirituality to the paranormal realm from a hoodoo perspective.
Okay. And so you've got a lot of, do you have like paranormal experience, like boots on the ground, going into locations, how long have you been doing that for?
Definitely. Wow. I'm a man of age a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, I've been doing it since I was, I would say since off and on since 2001. It started off in New York originally, where I'm originally from. The first investigation we went into a hospital that was in the New York State area that was abandoned, a mental health hospital. And to give you a little bit of story about that hospital was, matter of fact, there's a documentary on YouTube. The patient was being abused by the staff, and they turned on the staff, and it was just like a bloodbath. And we shut the place down. Ironically, my stepmom used to work there. And we went in because there's still blood stains on the walls. There's the old beds, and they used to torture the patients with old psychological techniques. back then that's heavily outdated and not used today. And that's what started my paranormal investigation, because people will go in and say you could still hear people screaming. The energy was very dark that was in there. And from there, I just expanded. I got hooked and I just wanted to go into the unknown. And I went to school in Long Island, and I went to school not too far away from the Amityville house in Long Island. Right. And that was an experience just riding past it, even though people have perceptions about it, but there's definitely energy there, like rumor that was built on Native American burial ground and so forth and things of that nature. But I have boots on the ground from New York to Georgia, investigating haunted dirt roads in Georgia and so forth. Property. That's an experience in itself.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got quite a bit. I mean, like, even outside of just like someone like me just doing paranormal investigation stuff, you've went through like schooling to understand all these different aspects. And I mean, that's amazing right there.
It's been a journey.
We've already got a question for you from the audience here. Jonathan asks, what college offers parapsychology? I'm interested in getting in.
You can check, like, there's a couple of them. University of Sedona is a very good one. I would check University of Sedona, University of Metaphysics. I did my internship at Ryan Research Institute up at Duke University in paranormal. So you want to look for someone that really teaches the study of parapsychology and the psychological aspects of it, because sometimes you'll get like a hodgepodge program. They'll use parapsychology as a catch-all phrase, but they don't go in depth into psychological theories.
Awesome. So Jonathan's thinking about going into that. Oh man.
Yeah,
he is very into he's very into the cryptic side of stuff. Like, he's pushing me to go and I mean, just like get out there and really learn about this stuff. So it'd be interesting to see kind of what route he takes on that. So I know you kind of touched a little bit on it as far as, like, you know, doing a lot of investigation stuff in Georgia. Is that pretty much how you found yourself in the paranormal field? Or was there a particular experience that you had?
Well, I was raised up about the paranormal, and in our family and stuff, I used to hear stories about the hag. And the hag is something that come ride you in the sleep, a spirit entity that come ride you in the sleep where you can't move. And it's real prominent in like the Geechee culture in Georgia and South Carolina. But my first paranormal experience was when I was between 3 and 4. I remember it happened on a Saturday. Telling my age again. It's the 80s. So my mom had rollers in there talking on the phone when people actually talked on phones. And something dragged me down the hallway and tried to pull me underneath my mother's bed.
Do what?
Yes, and that was like my first experience. Then the second one, I saw an apparition at the foot of my bed. And
now, you know,
a year or two later, but yeah, something dragged me down the hall and tried to pull me underneath my mother's bed. And she was on the phone talking to my Aunt Emma. She didn't realize it. I couldn't scream because I remember the fear was so intense I couldn't move or scream.
And you say that was? Do you believe that was the hag or?
No, I've been
else?
by the hag numerous times. I think that was just some spirit that was pulling me.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I broke the last time the hag attacked me. I was in college. It was junior year of college. No, I'm sorry, sophomore year of college.
Now, remember, you are talking to one of the more skeptic people here in the field. When that happened, do you think it was just a dream?
What, the hag?
No, where you was getting pulled down the hall?
No. That was there's a few times in my life where I remember that type of intense fear. That time, maybe one other time in the Army when they want me to scale down a certain wall, and I had a higher rate of, if I fell, of missing the mattress at the bottom. And I froze. I actually froze. And I remember the sergeant telling me just about that, talking about fear. He's like, you have to go or your drill sergeant going to come and throw you off the side. And I remember feeling my muscles intense, couldn't cramp. And what dragged me down the hallway, I had that same experience. I never had that in a dream.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I always hit people with, like these different questions, because then it really dives into what you experienced. And it's something that, that happened so long ago that you can still give details on and you haven't forgotten. So it's very interesting to hear it, especially from, my side of the spectrum in the field. So,
And to touch on it, parapsychologists, we explain the unexplainable or the other side of psychology and psychological theory to clear that up, because a lot of people have a misperception that parapsychologists just chase ghosts. That's not true. We help people with therapy with near-death experiences from car wrecks, gunshot wounds. We deal with psychic abilities. We deal with still in the psychology realm. And my undergrad is in psychology. My bachelor in psychology. My master degree is in individual and family development. And I say that because parapsychologists, a real school will have you work in a lab. A real parapsychologist is objective when looking at information. You're not jumping gun hole and saying, "Oh yeah, that was a ghost." We look at everything before we make the conclusion.
Yeah, and some of that stuff, I mean, I feel like a lot of people have never even heard of it before. I had a guy come up to me at my place of employment. It's within a hospital. And he was telling me, everybody likes to tell me their life stories and stuff. Some of the good, some of the bad, and he was actually describing to me a near-death experience. And, he told me about it. And, at the end, he's like, I don't know what it's called, but, that's what happened to me. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're talking about a near-death experience. And he just he really didn't have a clue on what I was talking about. So there's some people out there that may have experienced it, but they don't even know
how to put a name
what it is, what it's about, or even heard of it before. Like maybe they thought it was just like a one, and which every person's unique with that experience, but he thought maybe he was the only one that's ever had something like that happen to him.
Absolutely.
So obviously you've had paranormal experiences. Has there been anything that's really stuck out to you within this time in the field that you've done a lot of investigations?
Yes, it was a situation. I'm skeptical usually about demonic possessions. And I had a situation where I received a phone call, and how I go about conducting my investigation, I do an assessment first from a psychological perspective, age, background check. Have to ask, have you had any type of mental illness, or does it run in your family? Drug usage, you have to ask, because use a certain drug we all know can create hallucinations, and you might be thinking that you're seeing one thing and it's something else, especially if you're on shrooms or something. And I went out to this one woman house. I went out to, my sister and I, and she told me that there was maggots just appearing randomly in her home. And, I went out there with an open mind, grounded and everything. And when we got there, I saw it, fresh groceries, maggots appear, not too long. And I got to witness firsthand when we try to do a spiritual cleansing on her and pray over. I witnessed firsthand, and it wasn't schizophrenia, because schizophrenia lasts over a period of time. I witnessed firsthand a demonic possession take place. The more we preached the word of God upon her and everything, the stronger the demon got on her. And I watch her eyes change. I watch her. It wasn't like The Exorcist or anything where her whole face and skin changed up, but I witnessed her strength. I witnessed her strength, her pulling on us, knocking us down and everything. And her boyfriend even stated that he's seen this behavior in her at times. So that was one of my major, I guess you would say, demonic possession experiences.
Okay. Yeah, I like the part of where you're saying that you're very objective with it. I feel like I'm kind of on the same spectrum of that because but I'm really bad for like when I'm hearing some people's stories and stuff, and they're going through this and going through that. I'm like, that really sounds like they're doing drugs, because I'm in a law enforcement, I'm in law enforcement,
Prior
so
law enforcement here myself.
I still see it to this day. People coming in for psych issues. A lot of them are playing the system. The majority of them are homeless. I'd say 70% of the time, these subjects are drug users. So when they're coming in and they're saying they see this and they see that, then it's like, oh, okay, they've got to be doing drugs. So I'm still bad about, like, I'll listen to people's stories and think, well, it could be this or it could be that, versus like a paranormal experience. But I like that you approach that stuff the way you do, because everything's got to be looked at.
Right. And that's what a parapsychologist does. We look at it objectively and we go down the scientific methods before we determine if this is real or not. Like, so you just have to be careful, because to be a real parapsychologist, you have to really go to school for it. I watched a couple of people I see on TV, they use the term loosely, like, I'm a parapsychologist. No, that's not true. You have to go to school. You have to know psychological theories. You have to know about mental illnesses and properly how to diagnose them.
Mm-hmm.
Because all this plays a role, like, once again, with the paranormal. Are you really seeing things? Or are you suffering from some type of trauma, brain trauma, or abuse, or drug usage?
Yeah, there's so many different factors that can go into it too.
Right.
When you really open up that can of worms.
Or do you just want some attention?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's be honest. Look at, in the age of social media, do you just want attention?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more of that now than what we realize.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are just really good at hiding that fact versus others.
Hey, they
So
want them likes and them smiley faces.
uh, um I've got all kinds of different questions, man.
Let's
You
go.
got so much
Load 'em
under
up.
your table. Right now I'm just trying to like dive deep into, kind of what you've done ground level on the, in the field. So, I don't know if anyone's ever asked you this before. What when you go and investigate, what kind of equipment is like your favorite to use?
Oh, that's my favorite equipment. Voice recorder. I don't go in with a lot of equipment. Not from my perspective, because once again, I'm coming in from a psychological researcher perspective, and I'm also coming in from a spiritual perspective. And my mind and my spirit is my greatest tool. That's how I feel. Like, I do use voice recorders to see if I can record anything like that. Cameras,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. But I'm not coming in loaded with a whole bunch of equipment, because I'm going in from my experience. I'm going in from a different perspective. Some people go in, tap 3 times if you in here, as a spirit type thing, as you see on TV. I go in sometime as a spiritual cleanser, where I go in and people say that they're experiencing dark negative energy in their home, and they explain their situation to me. The kids is acting differently and everything, and I'll go in and I also do investigation, research in the house, and then I do a spiritual cleansing in the home. And I go back maybe once or twice more to make sure everybody's all right, and do additional cleansing.
Mm, okay. So you try to keep it a little bit on the basic side.
Well, basic, and once again from a psychological perspective.
Yeah.
You know,
As
uh,
far as equipment.
right, right.
Yeah.
Because my angle is, I'm looking for something. Hey, Rob, I'm looking for something maybe a little bit different sometimes than what, like, a traditional, I guess you want to say, ghost hunter is looking for.
Right. Okay. Robert says, "What's up? We're getting ready to film and investigate. Just want to stop in and say what's up." Awesome, man. Good luck tonight. Jonathan says, "I like to play a game called BS. Sometimes when it comes to people saying they witnessed something."
Well, and once again, an attention factor. I had people call me up with some bizarre. I had someone call me one time and tell me
they're getting really bizarre now.
Yeah, their kid was running around possessed and biting everybody in the house. And when she said a certain word, he'll just flip out and bite everybody. He was possessed by a demon, and they lived in a mobile home. And then she said that her brother living there, and people with dark hoods would come in with coats over their heads and tell him he don't belong there, and they're gonna sacrifice him. And I say, all right, you want to play games? I'll follow you up a little bit on this journey here. I don't have nothing else to do today. But I called back like 3 days later to check on her, and then she was like, "Oh no, my son is all right. He's not biting anybody anymore. He's not doing all this stuff." And some people just want, the attention. They see you online, you have a cool show. Oh, what can I say to get some attention?
That's sad, ain't it?
Very sad.
Jonathan says, "When I show up to investigate, it's like Inspector Gadget just showed up." I know. I've got so many different little pieces of equipment, man. It's unreal. I've got to have like a tote. I've got a huge what do you call it? Pelican case. I've got cases like that behind me. I've got a huge tote of stuff. I mean, I got too much stuff to be hauling around.
No, I mean, that's
and
cool.
we won't even use it all. We'll just be
Right.
like, we'll only use half of it or whatever we think should be used at that moment. So it's always interesting. So what kind of equipment do you believe should not be used in the field? Have you seen something that you bat an eye to and look the other way and say, I don't think it's credible enough to use? Or is there something you just don't really like to use?
And the reason I say that, because I think Rob and I might have had this conversation before too about equipment and everything. I said, I use your standards, EMF stuff and everything like that. I keep it real simple because I'm going in from a different perspective. Right. And like I said, sometimes, and you start out, you have all this stuff with you, and you're like, man, I didn't even use that. I made more of a mess coming in than what I found. But we were talking about phones and certain phone apps. Can they be used? And that was a discussion we were having. And I think like certain phone apps are not beneficial. And the reason, let me break this down when I say that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the features, not to get too scientific, but the features that are built into that phone model, that particular phone model, might not be compatible for what that app says is used for. Now, you could use a voice recorder on a phone because a phone has the high capability better than what you're probably even paying. You could use a camera on a phone. Yes, because it has higher megapixels. But when you start getting into certain phone models and stuff, not every phone model has capable thermal abilities or temperatures abilities. But you look at more modern phones today, they could monitor your heartbeat and everything else and this and that. You have to look at what the features of that phone, the antennas, the capabilities that it could use to pick up what you're looking for. All phones are not built the same. All iPhone models, iPhone 12 is not the same as an iPhone 5. A Samsung Note is not the same as maybe, I don't know, like a Pixel 1 or something. It's not the same. So like I have people hit me up because if you ever watched Ghost Brothers, you saw them use an iPhone 4S in their first season. And I'm not trying to throw shame on anything, but I was just like, okay, but that phone lacked certain functions at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you, like I say, you for a voice recorder, fine. But I start challenging apps mainly when people use apps. Also, certain spirit boxes. I'm a little weary of those sometimes.
Yeah, spirit boxes. It's like half and half, man, because sometimes you can get really crazy, like credible stuff with it. And then the other times you can say to yourself, well, it's going through stations and, you're basically just deciphering what you think you heard into something that you think you heard. So those are always 50-50. The way I did with ours is we've pretty much took the antenna out of our SB7 and use it now. And now you don't hear voice, space, voice, space, voice. It's
Right.
like mostly static. And when we was using it at the jail, we actually had a few responses come through it. And, sometimes you can't really understand it, so you don't put anything to it. But there's been other times where I'm like, is that what that just said? And you
Right.
run it through your software to listen back to it, on the computer, so you can actually hear real well. And it says something relative to that building or that area, and it's like, what? And it's like an old family name from years and years and years ago, and it's
There's no
like,
way they heard it in the last
what?
24 hours or anything, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. It's so 50-50 with me. But then it's like you use it during, which we did our first Estes method at the Trivet Clinic with PD Region Paranormal.
Mm.
And, you use just a regular SB7 with the antenna in it, and you have headphones on. And so it sounds like it normally does, but, you've got someone outside the building through a walkie that you can't hear when you have that headset on listening to the SB7, and they're asking questions. And it's so odd to me that you're basically replying to those, or you're reacting to something that that they say is like, they'll say, if there's someone in there with Cody, can you touch him on his right arm or something? And then it's like within minutes it happens. It's so weird.
Right.
So, but you're still hearing like voices on the SB7, and they'll be coming through, and you won't say everything that comes through because you're like, well, that wasn't a word. That's just a weird noise. And so you're only saying stuff that you can understand that comes through. And it was wild, man. Estes method is wild. There were so many things that lined up or matched up, and it blew my mind, just witnessing it for the first time and other people doing it.
Now, have you witnessed any paranormal situations without equipment?
Yes. In the sense of, actually, I think it's happened twice now. I don't know if you want to count these or not. In Trans-Allegheny, I am ahead of the group. I don't have any. I might have like equipment strapped to me or something, but I'm not even actively using it. Like I don't even have a camera, and it's pitch dark. And I swear I saw like a shadow figure, and it probably had to have been, oh my gosh, it's pretty far away. I want to say it was like maybe 40 to 50 feet. Maybe even more than that, just because of the room. It was at the other end of the room. But I'm looking through one of the small hallways that connects the big hallways at an angle. So I can actually look. I'm at an angle looking down the hall. I can see into one of the first rooms in the big hallway. And there's a window there. Well, it started to storm that night. There was a storm brewing. And I was like, oh, we're about to get more activity just from this happening. And there was heat lightning. So heat lightning, light come through the window, and clear, like, I don't want to say, I like to say clear as day, but, it was so clear to me. There was a shadow figure that moved left to right in front of this window as the heat lightning is coming through the window. Like I'd see, went right past. It was probably like, probably around my height, maybe a little bit taller. So like 5'7", 5'8", something like that. And I had to stand there for a minute because I was like, y'all are not going to believe what I just saw, for one. And for two, I want to make sure that's what I saw. I want to make sure that lighting wasn't a factor, nothing like that. So I waited till the next heat lightning come through the window. And it was probably a good minute. And I watched, I was like, holy crap, that was a shadow figure. So I went straight to there. And we realized that was one of the more active rooms in the building, at least on that floor. And I was like, I didn't even realize that this was that room. So another time was I had a camera. This was actually at the jail, our last big investigation. And I turned the camera like this to kind of film me and the people behind me. They were doing a spirit box session through our portal. And I'm standing in this doorway. Everybody's behind me. And it's just hallway, stairs leading up and everything. And I'm kind of watching them. I'll look back at my, around my camera. Because obviously, I know what I'm watching, viewing on my camera and stuff. Being in law enforcement, you check your surroundings all the time. So that's what I'm doing. I'm checking, watching them, checking. One of the times I checked, I turned, and a ball of light. This is the way I describe it every time. I don't know how else to describe it. It was a ball of light coming from the ceiling, and it was like floating towards me, but more in like my front view. It wasn't directly going towards me, but it was kind of like going at an angle where it was going in front of me. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what am I watching right now? And it happened, maybe it was like 2 or 3 seconds, but it comes down and it gets about halfway between me and the wall that it come from. Like, it seemed like it come through the ceiling, but it gets about halfway and then it just disappears. Dissipates. And I'm like, I just saw something that I hear people talk about all the time. Just these, they call them, orbs that you see with your own eye. But it wasn't through a camera lens. It was like with my own eyes. And 100%, the shadow figure, I'm like, maybe I didn't see that. There's got to be something to it. Like, maybe that was just my mind playing tricks. But that ball of light that night, that was not a trick of my mind. And that was like 100%. Can't explain it. So.
Well, you had a natural observation of the paranormal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I want you to think about this, Cody. Have you ever read the stories about Abraham Lincoln and his belief about the paranormal?
I have not. That's interesting.
Look it up. He was heavily into the paranormal.
And my!
Conduct seances and stuff and everything. Now, and I bring that up because here we are today with modern day technology, all this advanced technology, and Abraham Lincoln was trying to reach the other side on several occasions. He was heavily into. There's numerous articles about it, and he had no equipment. They would hold hands and chant and had other people that was there. And I learned this when I was at the Ryan Research Institute of the Paranormal. And I say that because sometimes I believe maybe we could get a little too distracted with equipment. You just told 2 amazing occurrences in its most natural form of witnessing the paranormal.
This is true.
Just something for us to think about.
Yeah, well, that definitely makes me think because I am one of those guys that I'll bring in tons of equipment and I probably won't even use it all. It's like, I bring it just in case. And but I'm also like on that side of I want to bring stuff to maybe validate what we're seeing. Even though that might not be the case every time because you never know what's going to happen and what location of the area it is going to happen. Right. But I'm just like one of those people that I'm like, I would love to experience something. I'd love to validate within a piece of equipment. And then sometimes our equipment does give us an experience that sometimes I can't explain, like our piece of equipment that reads the like the temperature of the room and the barometric pressure. It reads all the values in the environment within the room, and everything has a value that it comes out to be a word. And I literally asked, this was a Trivet clinic. The first time I went, I said, what's sitting on the table? And right after I asked that, it says head. There's like a skull sitting on the table that they use for anatomy classes and stuff like that. And I just thought that blew my mind too. And I'm like, how does this happen? This thing has over 3,000 words built into it.
Right. And it just called that one out.
Yeah. So I don't know. Some of this stuff I can't explain, but I keep on pushing to see if, there's something I can go boom, boom, boom and correlate everything and still say, okay, I don't know how to debunk this. So
the world of the paranormal.
What has been your favorite location to investigate?
I love the South. Love the South on a whole, especially the coastal regions. The history here is so much energy floating around. The history of the Confederate soldiers, sharecroppers, like going back to the haunted dirt road I was telling you about. Well, the people that live nearby always kept saying, I hear this since I used to come down south as a kid. They used to tell me this. Like, in broad daylight, they would see a man walking across the cornfield with no head on his shoulders. Now, it just wasn't until like the last 4 years where I actually spoke to my aunt that lived near there and grew up in the area. And I asked her about the story. I said, Auntie, what's the deal with the guy I keep hearing about, people talking about walk across the cornfield with no head? She was like, oh, they say that was such and such. And he fell over in the combine and got his head cut off. He was decapitated. And people have been claiming they've seen his body, his headless figure walking across the cornfield in broad daylight. I love Southeast, Charleston, South Carolina. There's a saying, if you're walking down the street and your hat is blowing off your head, don't pick it up. The spirit. Or if you feel somebody tap your shoulder, you turn around, no one's there, that's a spirit tapping you. But these are high energy places. I myself, just to share this with you, I'm in the process of doing an investigation downtown Columbia. A lot of people don't know all of downtown Columbia once was home to one of the largest prisons in the Southeast. And it sat on the edge of Carnegie River. And they threw barbed wire in the river in case the inmates jumped out the prison and try to escape the land of the water. Right. And they also executed the youngest person in American history, a 13-year-old there. So fast forward, they knocked down this place, which was built like a castle. It was called Columbia Correctional Institute. And they built one of the most extravagant condominium developments on top of the grounds. And they still left the prison wall from the 1800s up in the middle of this extravagant complex with their own Starbucks and gyms and cleaners built in there. So the residents been saying for years, they've been seeing things, hearing things. So I've been told by somebody that's a waiter somewhere, a young USC student, that they want me to come out and do an investigation.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yes.
My team is like, they're so fascinated with Georgia, like South Carolina, Georgia area. They want to go down and definitely want to investigate, I think, in the like Savannah, Georgia area. But I might have to get up with you one day and see, what some good places are, because we're wanting to do like maybe a few days down there at one point and go and investigate one or two places.
That's cool. Savannah's great,
so
man.
I'll have to get up with you sometime and find out.
Yeah, definitely. That's Savannah's outside of where my parents are from. Statesboro is like 20 minutes away. Yeah, Charleston, Savannah, all those areas, like high vibration for spiritual energy.
Awesome. I might not get to everyone's comments tonight, but I'm going to try to catch up a little bit. Let's see. Jonathan says, during my SD session, I didn't realize I was moving my hand around until after I was done doing it. So Jonathan was there with us. A lot of us did Estes. Some of us did it for the first time. Some of us were kind of veterans at it. So it was interesting to use radios to do the communicating, and only be one person in the building, and that was the person doing Estes. And basically we had the radio, the Estes equipment, the person, and a camera for the live stream, because we'd put a camera down there and live stream it to StreamYard or like Facebook, and then we would watch it outside and we would ask questions. But then sometimes like the person doing Estes would answer them, and then we would follow up with another question off of their answer or whatever they said, just to see if we can kind of get a conversation going. So it was always interesting for us to like go back and watch us doing Estes and being like, oh my gosh, just the different views. John says Abraham Lincoln and his wife did seances to try and reach their son after he died. It became an everyday occurrence.
That's right.
I've not heard about any of this.
Right. That's right.
This would be interesting.
Yeah, that's right.
John says, I told you about the Savannah Theater. I'll have to look into it.
The whole area, River Street, all that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, someone coined it as the most haunted, what was it, the haunted city? Or just haunted, like enriched area. Just because there's been so much stuff that goes on there. And heck, I would say New Orleans is about the same.
Yeah, I would say, New Orleans and Savannah and Charleston. I mean, like Charleston, Savannah is very similar cities because of the Gullah Geechee culture down there. But they similar also to Louisiana because these are strong like hoodoo areas and root work areas down there. And they come with their perspective on the paranormal too that's different from traditional. It's more embedded in day-to-day culture.
Awesome. I love it. I'm learning stuff tonight already. It seems like I learn something every time we do these shows. Let's take a break a little bit from as far as like the investigation questions. Now, you said you have your own paranormal news show?
Yes, I just started Hoodoo Lounge Paranormal News. It's tied to the Hoodoo Lounge TV network, which is on the Stream TV app, where I, air out. I show live shows, paranormal shows like this, content from other people. We have horror stories, podcasts, UFO investigations, indie horror movies, old school horror movies on there too. That's right. It's called Hoodoo Lounge TV. And so I came up with the Hoodoo Lounge Paranormal News because I wanted something separate from the TV aspect, but I want to cover news worldwide, but from the paranormal perspective. Because there's interesting stories in other countries too. And it's interesting to see how they view the paranormal.
Most definitely.
Especially the place like India, like they're getting heavy into it and they're offering degrees, actually college degrees in the paranormal in their country.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because it's like a more of a global thing once you open it up to that. And that's kind of why I really wanted to bring you on the show, because you kind of do your own news thing, and so like we can sort of talk about like our differences in our shows. Like I finally got to watch one of your shows the other night, and I like how we both kind of do the same thing, but we do it in a very different way, and it's what makes it unique. And I love watching your show. It's to me, it's like more personal with you. You like to talk like a big point of that night, and I don't know, I was laughing quite a bit that show. It was definitely a good show.
Which one? The killer clowns or the UFOs?
Yeah, the killer clowns. So, and it's just the weird stuff like that comes, about through society. is just interested to talk about. So it's a good show, though. I was laughing a lot.
Glad to entertain you. More to
come. What exactly do you cover in your news channel? I mean, is there like a range, or is it just whatever you can cover in the channel?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I try to steer clear of like Bigfoot stories because once you get in that Bigfoot category, it does something to you. But there's nothing wrong with that, because recently on Real TV here in South Carolina, there was a Bigfoot sighting story on the local news. You know, I'm not disputing that, but like I said, how I go about gathering my news information, I look at paranormal stories worldwide and locally. Well, not locally, but like United States.
Yeah.
Situated at mine took place. I have a specific place where I go to retrieve this type of information, and believe it or not, it's from a credible resource. I was shocked that they even had a paranormal section to their news network. And I also talk with some writers. Then I do my investigation, because I like to report on stuff that might be possibly true. You know, that's my angle. I want to show you something that's like next week. I have a very good show coming up, but that's possible.
What you got? What you got?
What I got? I can't tell y'all just yet. I can't tell you. But guess what though? Once again, I have the footage, real video footage, proving this type of stuff. And that's how I want to present it. I want to give you something like, especially with UFOs. I love UFOs sightings and stories, and I'm not so much interested in the aliens, so to speak, where they gray men, green men, humanoid. I'm interested in technology.
Right.
That's how I'm looking at it. You know, are these our crafts, or are they like America or China craft, or is this something from another world?
Right.
You know,
there's been a lot of UFO stuff here lately.
A whole lot. And then, you had the whole meeting up in Congress back in May about with the Pentagon and Congress about the UFO side. So now they're openly admitting it. And then you got the Space Force out there taking place. So I cover stories along those lines because I want to show people that the paranormal is more than hunting ghosts.
Yeah, and I remember that whole Congress thing, because that's right around when I started this show. It was like my first episode. We actually looked at some of the Congress video, them meeting and talking about it. So I was like, oh boy, we're about to open a can of worms right here.
and now they have to talk about this because of the fact that back in the day, in the 80s, people didn't have camera phones to record these objects in the sky, and you could easily write them off as a crazy kook or something. I saw that 9mm post too. I'm trying to embarrass here. But now you have people with cameras of their own, and like they asked them at a meeting, you showed us everything that the military saw. What about the civilians? And if we're talking that UFOs are real, are abductions real now, you're saying too?
Yeah, there's a whole lot that goes into it and has to be discussed.
Right.
Well, but yeah, I like the differences in our shows just because, like I said, you get very personal with yours. Mine, I do like to go, I don't care if it seems true, if it seems fake. I like to go through what's been seen, what's being told, how the community's reacting to it. And there has been, and a lot of times we debunk the stuff where we're like, oh, this is ridiculous. Stuff that's come out of India, we've already debunked. Obviously your TikTok videos is something you really have to dig and look at, because a lot of that could be editing.
Right.
But some of these, like they said they spotted a Bigfoot one time and it was like a faraway picture in a field, and I'm like, that doesn't even look like a Bigfoot. It looks like a person bending over a little. No, it wasn't even that. It looked like an actual legit person just standing out in the field. And because they were so zoomed in, they're like, oh, that doesn't look right. So we definitely dive into it and look at it before we can say, oh, that's really weird.
Right. I had someone called me one time. They were like, man, I got a picture of a real mermaid. You got to get this on your show. You got to talk about it. You got a picture of a real mermaid and stuff. I'm like, really? Like, yeah. I'm like, all right, well, sit down, bro, see what it is. And he sent to my email, it's a damn picture of Cardi B in a mermaid outfit.
Oh my gosh.
Mermaid, her foot hanging out the side. But you know, I think that like I said, I cover it all, and you know, I've been getting a lot of response about the Killer Clown. And the reason why I did the Killer Clown, because actually it showed up in local news in South Carolina again.
Yeah.
And I called the police station to do my investigation. I have a few frat brothers over there, and I was like, hey man, you guys getting some talk about Killer Clown? And he was like, hey, look, I'm not going into detail because we don't want to start a frenzy, but he was like, yeah, there has been one or two sites, and there's chatter going. I said, okay, so it's just not a YouTube thing. He's like, no, he's like, on the northeast side, people did see a clown. And I said, all right, and the times we living in, we just need to be alert, whether they're clowns or morons. We still need to be alert in the climate of America.
Yeah.
So what we just brush it off, and then Halloween come and you stand in line at Church's Chicken and you got Bozo the Clown, you know, with a machete in his hand, standing in front of your car, you know? They're like, damn, maybe I should have listened to Dedrick Hilton.
You know? I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do. There's a guy with big red shoes and a machete in his hand.
Jonathan says, I really thought our last president was going to let all the cats out of the bag on UFOs, but it was very sad it never happened.
And you know, but you know what, though? Good point. But what I didn't like about the meeting in Congress, when they showed Obama talking about the aerial stuff, because they asked him on a Tonight Show, and he said back in the day, I wish I knew that. I wish I had the answer to it. And now that Congress is saying, yeah, they're possibly real, and they're not ours, and they might be, they're not Russia or China. And now, like, yeah, they move at different angles. Now I don't want to see a clip. You should have said something back then. You know, I respect Trump's perspective on the essence that he said no or whatever. You know, I think he did know something. I could tell by, I'm reading his body language. He felt kind of uncomfortable talking about it. He probably been warned, like, don't you say anything about this. You know, I mean, there's a lot of politics that go in, because you start admitting that these UFO crafts are not ours or another nation, you can send people off into a frenzy. So I get it, the position they're playing about it. You know, I tell the cashier to give me my chicken quick. So chicken with the
Old Jonathan. Oh my goodness. Oh, all righty. Well, we're at the half. Usually I try to make it an hour, but sometimes these interviews can take a while. But we're at a halfway mark, so we're going to take a quick commercial break so y'all can, you know, go use the bathroom, get you a nice cold drink on the rocks, and you can come back to me and Dedrick looking at some latest news, and we'll also get the rest of his interview complete. So, yeah. So we will be back with y'all in just a few moments.
Chicken nugget. Chicken nugget. Chicken nugget. Aggressive sniffing again. Chicken nugget. Chicken nugget.
That was some funny videos. Oh, so we're going to continue our night tonight, interviewing our guest, Dedrick Hilton of Hoodoo Lounge TV. Wonderful little platform. We're actually going to start this out a little bit differently than what we normally do. I have an interesting question for him and the audience tonight. So let's go ahead and bring him back up. Hello, sir.
Hey.
So, interesting question. Might get your brain juices going.
Mm-hmm.
So, and for people out there as well in the comments, let's go ahead and pull up. Let's see. We got Haunted Chris saying hello to you.
Yeah, how you doing?
And hello to everyone. Hello. Welcome to the show. Love the new faces. Jonathan says, I think your boss was a little intoxicated at the McDonald's, sir. So here's an interesting question for y'all. Which potion would you drink? You can only choose one. You've got one that's where you can stay young forever. One where you can breathe in the sea, become invisible at will, have power over fire, and teleport. So lock in your answer, Dedrick, because we're going to find out.
Ready.
What would you choose?
What would I choose?
Yeah.
Black one, be visible forever.
So that one, let's see. Become invisible at will. You can do it with control.
Definitely.
You would mess with a lot of people doing that.
Yes, I would. and that's why I chose it. I thought about that in my earlier college days.
Oh my goodness. The stuff that I find and come up with here. Jonathan says, does green mean you live forever or you just die looking 21? I don't know. There's no context to it. I would choose, I think it was the pink or the purple. I forget what color it was, but I would choose to teleport.
Teleport is dope. And
I think
the fire.
I think that's more at will too.
Mm-hmm.
But there really is no context to it. But I'll just love to do that because then I could say, all right, I'm gonna go check out this place, haunted location over in England. If I could like teleport with all my stuff with me, that'd be awesome. All right.
What? Just there.
I'm here. I'll be waiting on you, team. Because then I could get everything off the bucket list.
I have to hire you for the news station then. I have to worry
uh,
about flying you out. You just
can
teleport.
you go cover this? Yeah. Boom.
Was it
I'm
real?
there. Oh. Oh my. I don't know if we want.
Well, I thought about that because it reminded me of an episode of the Bundys with Bud. That's why.
The people in the audio playbacks will be like, what just happened? So let's get back to it. What a better way to get back from commercial break than to go into some news stories. And I know you said you love this whole UFO thing. What better way to get back into it and see that we had strange aerial footage in Washington State? A resident captured mysterious objects in the night sky outside his home, and he said it was a clear sky, and he noticed something that appeared to be like a falling star, and then when he focused on it, he realized it was not a falling star. Oblong-shaped light he recorded on his iPhone appears to make erratic movements, and the news showed the footage to a pilot, aviation journalist Mark Miller, who suggested that it might have been a Starlink satellite that had launched around that time. He said the resident took a video the next night and captured more odd video. So let's take a look, shall
Have
we?
captured their latest sighting. Take a look at this. This is footage taken by Tri-City business owner Travis Hisson.
It was about 4:30 when I noticed it.
It was Monday morning when he stepped outside before heading to work as the owner of Tri-City Landscaping and Maintenance.
Such a clear sky, right? So I was just looking at all the stars, and at the corner of my left eye, I seen what appeared to be like a falling star. And then as I focused in on it, I was like, this is not a falling star.
In the night sky, Travis wasn't sure what he was seeing.
So I ran into the house real quick, grabbed my phone, started videotaping.
The first thing that came to mind?
Oh, UFO. Yeah, not necessarily extraterrestrial, but just, specifically an unidentified flying object.
Then, 24 hours later, Hisson captured this second video, same time, different location in the sky. A UFO sighting wouldn't be unheard of. According to the National UFO Reporting Center, there have been some recent UFO sightings in the Tri-Cities and surrounding areas. We turned to pilot and aviation journalist Mark Miller for some help.
I've been flying since I was 9.
Miller says we have to take into account nearby Air Force bases or other government entities, and when determining if something is a UFO, the object's flight pattern.
But when we start to see aircraft or start to see lights moving in really weird ways and things that are sort of the physical dynamics are different than things we're familiar with, that's when we start to ask the question, well, what is this?
I asked Mark what he thinks the first video shows, and even my own intuition says Starlink, which did have a launch on Sunday.
So it seems to kind of line up. And I think what we might be seeing in this video is that sort of early release.
But for this to appear at the same time in different fashions near the Tri-Cities, Travis and myself included have some questions left unanswered.
Not saying that there's aliens in there, but yeah, who knows?
Ooh, very mysterious indeed. And a fun fact about UFOs, the term flying saucer was coined in Yakima at the airport after a pilot reported seeing UFOs over the Cascade Mountain Range.
So that second one, I couldn't even really see that good because I have it on this other monitor, and these monitors are a little bit darker. So I had to actually look it on this screen. I was like, so yeah, some of that was broken up, it looked like. What do you think, Dedrick? I think you know a whole lot more about UFOs than I do, more than I could care to actually get into. What you think about that?
The footage?
Yeah.
The footage wasn't concrete. I'm not on the scale that it's real. Let's be honest here. Let's keep it.
Yeah.
I
think
seen that footage
you think
before.
maybe he actually did see something, but it's not what he thinks it is? Or do you think it's actually faked out?
I think there's. He don't like. Well, I can't pass judgment on anybody, but you know, that footage I seen that somewhere before. That line going down, and I forgot what caused it. And sometimes, just like I said, we like to look at everything. Sometimes when people filming things, it'd be a string.
Yeah.
That could be in the front of a camera lens. Even a spider web, believe it or not, as thin as it is, can look like something. Now, the second one I saw was a little. I've seen these images before, like really, really before. And like you said, and if he did see something, it doesn't necessarily mean it was a UFO. It could be a UAP. Well, the term now is UAP, believe it or not, which was coined by Hillary Clinton. UAPs.
Yeah, because that's more of a newer thing. I've never heard of that till this century.
Yeah, it's been around. Came around like 1998. It just hit the mass media now with the whole Pentagon thing.
Oh wow.
Those type of images, I'm not going to say questionable, because if they're UAPs, then we don't know what it is because it's a UAP, obviously. But that I wouldn't say it's a craft. I wouldn't say it's fake. I'll just say I just can't identify what it is. It doesn't wet my whistle in the UFO world. So
yeah. Raymond Newsom says, "What's up, everyone?"
But he got some free publicity.
Yeah, and Jonathan says it looks real, but he thinks it's space debris or satellites. Maybe. I have my own opinions on that, but I'll keep them to myself.
Maybe.
UAP.
UAP.
So, there's another one.
Let's go. Load them up.
You might have seen this one. Multiple witnesses in Mexico film puzzling UFO rotating in night sky. There has been a lot of different sightings in Mexico right now, which is in the last month, I'd say. Very odd. Several individuals in Mexico were left scratching their heads at the sight of a puzzling UFO that appeared to rotate in the night sky. And it happened in the town of Tequila, of all places.
Well, at least we know it's a sober community.
At least 4 groups of people who were out that night, I wonder what they were doing, spotted the peculiar sight, which resembled a set of glowing lights that seemingly slowly spun in the sky until vanishing into thin air. Now, my first thought on that was it a drone show? Because that's the only thing that could, I feel like that's the only thing that could recreate that. But sometimes when we watch these, we're like, there was one that we watched on, I think it was last week's episode. I think Jonathan was here too. We watched one where we was thinking that at the beginning, but the way they sped, I mean, like, it was like almost the speed of light, just gone. And we're like, that was not drones, because that had to have been like multiple people at the same time take off that fast. And we're like, yeah, no, that was not a drone show. That was something we couldn't explain. So then again, if it's real, but if it was faked, then, you know, that would probably explain a little bit better. But let's see, they wound up catching it from multiple vantage points, which allows for a rather unique perspective on the peculiar aerial anomaly. Okay, so before we read what everyone else thinks it is, let's watch the video.
So then, here we have this UFO sighting that confused the locals a few days ago, and this was filmed over Mexico by multiple eyewitnesses, and we have 4 of those eyewitness account videos.
¡Tómenle foto! Yo. Y luego no vieron ni tampoco también las luces del
According to my sources and the information we have, this was filmed on September 7th in the sky of Tequila in Mexico's western state of Jalisco.
Carlito. Miren, volteen para arriba.
It's weird. So many different people saw it.
Grábalo. Grábalo, mira, ya se están.
At least half the people I've seen comment on these videos seem to think it's Elon's Starlink satellite, which is very worrying in itself. We're not going to make it, are we?
Mira, güey. Ya se apagó, güey, a la verga. Ah, apenas se iba a grabar, güey. Sí existen los ovnis. ¿Qué muchachos? ¿Qué vieron? ¡Ay, hijo de su puta madre, güey! No mames.
As you can see, this looks like a huge craft with spinning lights around the rim. I guess like you would get in a cheesy 60s sci-fi program. But what are we seeing here?
Desapareció. Ay, pa.
If you ask me, these are very compelling captures of the same UFO being filmed by multiple witnesses from different angles.
A la verga, güey. Oh mames, esa madre está perricísima, güey. Mira, güey. A la verga.
Puto platillo volador, ¿qué? No mames. Está dando vueltas, mira. No, va cruzando a uno, mira.
I've got
You know what else it could be?
What do you think?
I was actually visualizing like an airplane, but it doesn't look like there's a whole. It's from what I can see. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of clouds in the sky. I was thinking maybe it's an airplane, like, and there's like two clouds and it's going through the middle of the two. That's what I was visualizing. But I don't know.
Well,
because then it kind of just like the last few set of lights, which then again, that would have to be like, I'm also thinking of like window lights, which that wouldn't be, I don't think we'd be able to see that, but.
Now that one is very interesting. And, you know, I'm a MUFON member. And one thing they talk about during investigations, you know, is looking at the angles of these objects and how they're moving. I don't think that's a plane. How it was moving steadily and the repeated circular motion, it looked like not just the lights, but the object itself looked like it was rotating.
True. Yeah, if you take away that visualization, just kind of look at it and see, it does kind of look like there's a rotating,
right, in a circular
and not
fashion.
at a flat. It's kind of like an angled a little bit too.
Right, in a circular fashion. I haven't seen a plane that's in a circular fashion. Now, do they exist? Yes, because the Air Force was experimenting with that type of shaped craft in 1965. They had pictures on film in Florida. Well, the Germans been playing with those shaped technology during World War II. But to speed back up to that.
What did they call those?
Back
Do you
then?
remember? Yeah. Because I think they actually suggest that on here.
Back during World War II?
I think, yeah.
Well, you know, Hitler was experimenting with the bell. But he had numerous circular motion objects that had propellers on the inside that would rotate, that could cause for it to move in different angles. Matter of fact, the guy, what was his name? Project Blue Book, the one that was in the Air Force that was assistant professor. He stated that if World War II would have went on for another year, we would have lost because the Germans were experimenting with advanced aerial technology that would have took America out. And you can look that up. That's he actually documented and stated that. But back to what I was saying about the circular rotation fashion, I don't think it was a drone either. That looks rather large. And it was moving in a circular fashion at a steady rate, like kind of in the same vicinity. And that's how I start breaking things down, saying, well, it can't be a plane because right now we don't have a plane that could like really just stay here and right there and right here for extended period of time. Is it a UFO or a UAP? I don't know, but do I think it's a plane? Absolutely not. I stand by that, and I don't think it's a helicopter either.
Let's see. It says skeptical observers have suggested that could have been the recently launched SpaceX Starlink satellite, which actually spawned UFO reports in both India and Texas early last week, and have been the cause of similar confusion in the past. However, such incidents usually feature a string of lights in the night sky rather than what appears to have been seen over Tequila, which could have been that other one the guy saw from Washington. Other suggestions for the oddity include some kind of drone, a clandestine military craft. I was wondering if that's maybe what you were referring to. And of course, aliens.
Well, clandestine, I mean, you know, if we want to talk about that what object I think is clandestine is the triangular shaped one that I mentioned in my news show the previous week. And that's the TR38B, I think it is. It's called that one. I think that's clandestine with the anti-gravity propulsion in the center of it. And I also believe the Tic Tac clandestine. And the reason why, when the military, me being prior military myself, but when they want to try something out and see how it works, who they try it out on first? Their own soldiers. They want to see how military respond. They know based off how we respond, our adversary might respond the same way or in similar fashion. Another why I think Tic Tac is a clandestine spirit, because only military has recalled seeing these objects in heavy numbers, and they always flying over military ships. They toy around with the Navy aircraft, moving in circular fashion, mimicking them. And also in the past, going back to World War II, the military was experimenting with submarine objects that could move at different speeds and stuff. And my theory, I just put it out there, just a theory. You gotta have to have a theory to open up discussion. Right. And I say that the Tic Tac could be advanced submarine technology. And people say, what do you mean by that? I said, because it's seen going down in the water. What happened? We could kill two birds with one stone by creating an aerial technology, advanced technology that could go down and submerge under the water. Now you don't need submarines. Because when this object go down the water, it doesn't shatter, it goes deep, and it moves fast. What happens if we could like give submarine like jet pilot, faster than jet pilot speeds, but also submerge underwater at the same time? You're killing two birds with one stone.
That's like some Rick and Morty shit right there. Pretty sure his aircraft can go down in the water.
Think about that. Because the military has a lot of advanced technology that we don't even know about that exists. But the question is, where did you get it from?
Yeah, or where'd they learn to do the technology? You never know.
Now they say in Roswell, what they found in Roswell was actually advanced German technology that was found.
Well, Jonathan was talking about the last week's episode with the really fast lights that sped off. He's thinking that maybe now he's thinking about it might have been fake. He's wondering if I could show it to you. It'd take me too much time to go back and pull that back up, but you can. I think it is on Coast to Coast AM somewhere in the articles from 2 weeks ago, or a week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I don't want to take too much time on doing that. So nothing saw behind the lights, and craft looks bigger in one video than the other. Well, it was also shot at different point of views and angles. So that's what was interesting about that one, because everybody was just chilling outside and they're like, what is that? And it makes you wonder how long that stayed too for so many people to get video of it. Because sometimes people are watching something and are like, they don't think to get their phone out. So maybe it was up there for at least maybe under 5 minutes for them to say, oh yeah, let's get our phone out. But yeah, interesting stuff. Do you know who Joshua P. Warren is?
No, not familiar with that.
I don't, I didn't know either. However, there has been some material that has come out, and now it's been getting posted out there. So it says something about, I don't know exactly who it is, but it says Joshua Warren shares images and video of ghostly phenomena. Kathy in Oklahoma has experienced ghostly activity at her home for years, and on January 1st of this year, her security camera captured a ghost leaving footprints as if it skipped across the snow.
Even footprints.
Oh my. I do see something.
I see something.
Well, I don't. I see snow getting kicked up, but that's all I see.
Rewind that one more time. But there's something going on outside that circle to the right.
Okay.
As you see the footprints moving.
Where at?
All right, you see the shadow. Just watching in real slow motion, you see like the deers and the footprint. But look to the right as the footprints is forming. There's something outside the circle.
Right here or up here?
Go up higher at the top of the circle, to the right, closer.
Up here.
Nope, back over between the tree and that little pathway of snow. Nope, all the way back over. Keep going.
Up here.
Now bring it down to that little pathway. Yep, right there, and follow the camera all the way back down, going towards the trees at the bottom of the circle. Stay in that pathway. When you play the camera back, look at there.
Oh,
you go, follow that strip and watch the camera.
Well, look, there's footprints right there too. Now that I'm looking at it. Okay.
You're going to see something moving outside the circle there.
Yeah, I can't tell if it's snow or if it's yeah, I don't know if that's a snow. There's something real prominent that comes like right here.
Right in there, exactly.
Right there.
I'm man.
I don't know if it's snow falling like that right there.
It looks like there's something moving outside.
Then again, it's like, yeah, it's like this way and then that. It wouldn't be snow, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really up close right here, I bet. Right there. And it disappears. Huh. What you think, Jonathan?
He said bottom right.
Bottom right.
Mm-hmm.
I do see.
Are we seeing part of a hoax taking place? Or is there other spirits dancing around in the snow? To Alanis Morissette. I don't know. I'll let you guys be the judge.
Yeah, because you can see snow falling, but that right there is kind of weird. It's like it got flat.
To the bottom right.
It got flat right there too.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no other thing to that, so there's something else that he caught. Ghostly nuns at Notre Dame. What do you see in this picture?
I see a nun face in the background between the church and the light right there.
I also think I see one right here. And I don't see anyone else wearing that kind of old style,
like nun garment, Catholic garment.
So I don't know if it's like a bleed through of an image or anything. An American traveler named Teresa Marie captured this amazing photo on December 29th in 2015 at 10:41 p.m. at the Church of Notre Dame. It's a 4-second exposure with a Canon EOS T3 Rebel, and you can see the clear apparitions of two nuns standing behind her. Below is a zoomed-in image. Man. Imagine getting that on a photo that you just took.
Right. Now,
I mean,
I have a
that's
question.
real predominant features too.
Now, in the spiritual and religious realm, people wouldn't see that the same as a ghost in a haunted house. They might see that as a sign from God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's kind of looked at. It's strange how we could categorize spirits.
Yeah.
You know, I think when people see like religious figures or like that one with the Jesus crying, or is it blood coming out of his eyes? He crying? Oh, no, he turned his head. He turned his head that was hanging on a crucifix in the church in South America. And he turned his head and looked at the crowd on the cross. That was an interesting. Heck, I might even cover that one this week. Might add that one in there. I'm just saying, like how in our minds, how certain things are viewed a certain way. Now, what's interesting about that picture is you saw the two women staring in the same direction. Did they see it? And her head is tilted, looking like she's in a state of awe.
Yeah, like they're looking up.
Right.
See, Eric Scott was surprised by how the forms look using a professional emboss filter. This would do to photo editing. Huh. Interesting. John says it could be, I see it now, but wow, that's a once in a lifetime capture.
Definitely. And it could be a message that's being sent too.
Back in 2015.
A good one. It doesn't have to be I tell people all the time, you see spirit, it don't have to be something bad. You know.
No. What do you think about crop formations?
Very interesting. Even though a lot of them have been proven to be fake. A lot, they don't caught people late night doing crazy stuff in a field.
Well, apparently, what is happening? Oh, I guess it's only in 720. So, obviously, we're not going to be able to understand any of what this video says. They're all talking in Russian. So, but this is just video of apparently this crop circle forming. And they had a TV segment made on it. But the unique design was reportedly discovered around the end of August in Russia's region. Consists of a spiral containing several small spheres and rectangular shapes, which winds into a large circle at the center. And I think it's just, you know, them talking about kind of what the phenomenon has been and what's been told.
Well,
so,
you know, in the past, people say it was UAPs or UFOs that caused the formation. I would say if you're going to say that, then let's also test for some form of radiation.
Just to see if it was made from some kind of machine or
if it was, you know, something from not of this world, maybe it has a specific form of radiation level that should be in the soil or something.
I thought this was funny. This guy's like dressed up like a old school like investigator outfit, like a detective.
Yeah, that's what I get.
Like LA detective.
Angry about his coffee.
But hey,
yeah,
he's going around and.
Well, that's the radiation. That's. I think
is that what that is?
Radiation? That's what.
We might have to read into this further because we can't understand what they're saying. I mean, he's looking at it. Will they show the screen? He's documenting.
Yeah, I think he's tested for radiation.
Let's see if it actually says it or not. The show goes on to speak to what appears to be some kind of researcher who tells them that we suspect that it is a hoax. But indicated that they needed to examine the breakages in the wheat before they could be certain. The man then walks around the formation with an EMF detector and notes that the electromagnetic field at the center of the circle is 7 times higher than in the outermost spiral.
Yeah, that's what it looked like an EMF. I seen that one on Amazon.
He ultimately opines that the formation is man-made. He credits the people who created it, calling them professionals. But why do you think the center is so high in EMF?
EMF, that's the magic question.
Like he said that it is, but he never really says why. Huh. Interesting. Can't make me believe in crop circles when it's always laid side to side. If a craft lands on something, it would be straight down. So I just wanted your opinion on the crop circles because it's been a while since I've heard anything about them.
Yeah, you don't hear too much about crop circles anymore. Heck, you don't hear too much about recent abduction stories either.
Yeah, and I think people stopped with the crop circles, but now that, Dedrick might have lost connection there. He's gone. Oh no. But like I was saying before, that you haven't actually heard about crop circles in a while. Except for like now we might be seeing them because the whole CERN thing happened and everybody's trying to get out there. There he is. So I think the aliens are trying to communicate with you. But I was telling the audience, you haven't heard about these crop circles in a long time, and I feel like now, since the whole CERN thing has happened and people are starting to see everybody's talking about UAPs more, I think we'll start seeing them again.
Well, these topics have not came up during the whole meeting. I understand that was the very first meeting in May, but they didn't come up. Crop circles, abductions didn't come up. And we're not ruling out the abduction thing because I'd probably be more inclined to believe in an abduction before I believe in some of these crop circles.
Yeah. I just wanted to know what your opinions were on that because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I'm not going for that. I mean, I'm curious to see what caused the radiation in the center.
Yeah.
That's my thing, but I'm not going for it that it's nothing to write home about. I don't think it's real. But I'm once again, I like to run some tests on the soil to see what's further down in the soil there. That would be a good research.
I just wonder if they're using something, man, like some kind of tool to
flatten
that gives off radiation to do that of some sort. But I don't know. Yeah. Because that would be like their starting point, you think, right? Would be the center.
Yeah, I'm also looking at the direction as to how they all turn, is turning in the same direction, rotating.
Interesting stuff.
Man. And if he went out his way to make that for attention.
And not even get credited for it.
Right. A lot of free time on your hand there, And come clean. I want to know what you used to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I see one crop circle with a Wu-Tang symbol in the middle of it. I mean, I'm not supposed to believe that. Old dirty bastard came back from the grave and, doing crop circles now.
Yeah, I don't think they're close to it, Jonathan. I don't know. One more last piece. It's not really new. Well, it's kind of news, but nothing really to talk about too much. However, surprisingly enough, this weekend is the Mothman Festival. I don't know if anyone knew that or not, but if you're interested in going to that, it will be this weekend at Point Pleasant, West Virginia. I think. Is it? No, not. Maybe not. Hold on a second. Let me make sure. Mothman is also celebrated in Point Pleasant at a festival held each year in the town, which typically features a range of activities. This year's festival is set to take place this weekend. Yeah. So there you go. If you're up in that area and want something to do. And that was the first report sighting of Mothman occurred in November 1966. So now they have a festival every year where they go and do this. So just thought I would throw it out there if anyone's interested. Hopefully at some point we will do a extensive episode on Mothman, like the origin story of it, the history, the stories, the witness accounts, just everything we can learn about it. Hopefully we can get it into like a live stream episode. I will say I am working on one we just started basically the paper trail for it on a subject. I don't want to give it out yet, but I am working with someone and putting it together at the moment. So hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll have one of these interesting stories.
That and the
Look, is this guy
double intriguing?
Is this guy dressed up as like Ghostbusters? Can't tell. I can't tell. But it looks fun. It looks interesting. So, ooh, Mothman cookie. Nice.
Man, brew. Yeah.
Oh.
Wouldn't be an event without the brew.
So, Dedrick, I got 3 more questions for you, man, and we will wrap this up. What motivates you to continue working in this field?
Well, you know, this field has grown drastically over the last few years and decades, so to speak, and just interesting. You know, it's a passion, but I like to get the truth out, or at least we're coming into a more open-minded age in society, and I think we should have these conversations. Let's see what's beyond what we see day to day and beyond normal.
I was reading that. Make sure we caught up on all the comments. So you want to see the field further and just see what it has to offer. Right.
I mean, there's a lot of topics that we haven't fully explored or need more in-depth exploring. And that's what this whole field is about. And I like to see the truth get out there. My personal goal is to one day teach at a real estate college these topics. Because remember, back at anything prior to May, you was a crazy kook if you saw a UFO in the sky. Now our government is admitting that there's a strong possibility we're not alone. So you're going to see the whole ufology field and paranormal field turn into, I don't want to say turn to, because already a real science to me, but you're going to start seeing, I don't want to say credible people either, because they're jumping on the bandwagon. But you're going to start seeing these topics might really become something that we explore more in university settings.
Right. Something more, what's the word?
Academic?
Yeah, just more readily available, I guess, for people to kind of learn about and talk about, I guess. Right. I mean, essentially, you're going to be talking about it. So that's interesting. That's an interesting take on that. Because that is a good possibility.
Yeah, it's coming. One day in our lifetime, ufology would not be listed for private independent universities or metaphysical universities. It will be an actual degree that you would contain in the science department at a state university or a major institution. And you won't be looked at as an eyeball.
Yeah. If you could investigate anywhere that you haven't investigated yet, where would it be?
Area 51.
Ooh. God, I wonder how vast that would be.
You know, I'm learning so much.
That answer's so like out of this world, because it's like someone can say, like St. Albans. I want to go to St. Albans. Okay, we know what it looks like on the outside. We've seen videos of it on the inside. We know what you're going to be exploring. Area 51, you have no idea what it looks like, what
where
there
exactly it's
is.
located, because now they're saying when they stop you at that fence that's been seen by everyone, when they have the crew come out, there's been people been saying that it's not even located on the other side of that fence. You have to go 10 to 15 miles down the road, and it's located in a valley, actually.
Oh my. That's a good answer. What would be your main goal on that one?
I want to find the truth about the technology.
You think
I
there's going to
already
be
know
like,
we're not alone, but I want to know about this technology.
yeah,
How
you think
advanced
there's
is
going to
it?
be like special documents of this stuff down there?
Yeah, and the crafts too. All the state of art advanced craft, maybe some crash UAPs that they might have captured or retrieved. I'm curious about the technology. I'm already convinced we're not alone. I can't tell you what they look like, if they look like us or whatever, and this and that. But the technology I'm interested in, because whoever gets their hand on it and able to replicate that, they're going to be calling the shots in this world.
Alrighty. Well, some interesting stuff tonight for sure.
Definitely.
Dedrick, what do you have planned in the future? Do you have any events coming up? Just, let us know what's going on in the Hoodoo world and share any links that you may have that you would like for us to go visit.
Well, events coming up. I don't necessarily have any particular events. My biggest project right now is the whole Hoodoo Lounge TV and Hoodoo Lounge Paranormal News, which I air weekly. You could catch Hoodoo Lounge TV. Like I said, great documentary. The topics we discussed. You could catch Parafam content on there too on Strim. That's STRIMM TV. Hoodoo Lounge TV / Hoodoo Lounge Paranormal News. If you just go on the Strim app, you can register for free. They don't charge you. It's for free. And put in Hoodoo Lounge TV and you'll see the channel come right up. You can save it to your phone. You can view it on desktop. You can view it on your phone. And what's cool is while you watching these shows or even watching this great show, which is going to be on there too, you could chat live while you're watching the show.
That's awesome.
We have Hoodoo Lounge Radio, which we cover paranormal news, UFO investigation, and so forth. We own 30 different platforms. You can find us on all the majors, Google Podcasts, iTunes, all the majors, Spotify, everywhere. We have Hoodoo Lounge Radio. What else are we doing? We have the Hoodoo Lounge magazine, which covers everything from UFOs to paranormal to alternative spirituality, which is Santeria, Voodoo, Hoodoo, North Paganism, all that. It covers anything under that umbrella, and it's constantly being updated every week with new articles, new live video shows, and so forth. So my big thing right now is for the remainder of 2022 is to push content to make the people more aware through great content like shows like this and great organizations like Parafam.
Awesome. You heard it from the man himself, Dedrick. Definitely check out Hoodoo Lounge TV. And like you said, it's going to feature some Parafam shows just like this one. Me and him are a part of the Parafam. So definitely go check out Parafam Entertainment. There's going to be some wonderful things coming out of this community for sure. I can assure you that. Jonathan says, enjoyed the show. Have a great weekend. So yeah, go check out Dedrick's links that are provided down below. Other than that, man, the only other question I can ask is, would you ever be willing to come back on the show?
I would love to.
Even just to look at some news and stuff.
Yeah. I love the Indian vibe. And also, by the way, because I know Cody loved gaming, I have to say this. If you want to find me on the games, I'm on World War Z heavy. I'm on a couple of zombie games. You can find me on Centaur63 is my username. Centaur63, that's me. Big boy Centaur63. Yeah. I'm out there on them zombie games. So, I'm a zombie buff. I would like down the line to actually get into independent film and making a very good paranormal movie.
Oh, okay. Do you do any like PC gaming?
Not so much PC. I do, all the streaming and stuff, but
well, one day if you do, one day, hopefully, right now we're kind of playing around with the 7 Days to Die, but I feel like the future of Parafam gaming, we're probably going to end up having like a GTA 5, like LSPDFR kind of server, official server, and then we're going to have probably a Project Zombo. I don't know if you've ever seen that game or looked at it, or if it would be your cup of tea, but it's a very extensive, like, realistic zombie survival game, and the fact of like you have to, it's probably the most realistic one out there as far as like keeping your character healthy and alive and crafting stuff, and the map is huge. Like you could literally take a road trip in an RV and try to survive in an RV on that thing. It's very interesting.
That's cool.
So you'll have to take a look at it at some point. The way it looks and the view of it might not get everyone, on the same page of it, but once you play it and really dive into the complexity of it, it's like, oh my gosh, and it's not like these other games where you take on 100 of them at one time. It's difficult just to take on like 2 to 3 at one time, because your character will get tired from swinging wherever they got. If you're using guns, it creates a lot of noise, so it brings even more zombies. You could have like 1,000 zombies on you, and you literally just have to run. That's your only choice. So,
and can you build like forts and stuff? Like
yes,
fort?
Yeah, you can build bases. You can go into a house and like board it up and make it your own, because that's usually what me and my girlfriend do when we play it. We'll go to like a really nice house in a neighborhood where it's like sort of fenced off, and then we'll finish off the rest of the fencing. So it'll be interesting one day to have that server, and then like have our Parafam people would come and join whenever, and just like meet each other in the world and stuff. Because then on there you got to have radios to talk to each other,
right?
And be on the same frequency and all that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, hey, man, many zombie games we could get. I love the ones where you're getting rush bound to, and you have a team. I'm a big zombie buff, like I said. So bring it on, everybody. You guys see where we're at. Centaur 63. I'm on 7 Days to Die too. I just downloaded, and I'm like, damn, these zombies keep eating me out here.
Yeah. It's rough on that one.
Yeah, that is actually. That's real strategy right there.
So, but alrighty, man. It was a great show. Can't wait to have you on again. Maybe next time we'll just look at some news and stuff and get your intake on these UFOs, because
let's do it.
You've got the history for it, and there might be one that you'll be like, "Whoa, that is."
Call them up and get them on the show.
Yeah,
let's get them on the show. Yeah. Was you in tequila when you saw that one, buddy?
Oh, what were you drinking at the time, sir?
Let's get them on the show.
Oh my goodness. All right, Dedrick. It was awesome talking with you, man. I think you're doing awesome things, and I hope you stay at Parafam forever.
Thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate you guys.
Stay as long as you'd like.
Thank you.
All righty, y'all. Till next time, next Friday, 7 p.m. We'll see what we have in store. Later.